Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you from inside the Eve Echo's final test, with another ship-fitting video, this time for the, believe it or not, the Yan Jung Xian-yue class destroyer, or at least the prototype. Now you see, all of us in the beta have been sent one of these ships with a load of fittings to give it a try and let the developers know what they think. So I'm going to go over that in this particular video, just to have a look at what they're equipped with, how those stats work, because they do have some unique equipment, which is worth just having a little bit of a look at. And we'll talk about the ship and then showcase what this bad boy can do. Anyway, as usual, if you enjoy this video, find it amusing or useful or entertaining or anything, please do let me know by hitting like on it. Consider subscribing to the channel for all things Eve Echoes, and let me know what topics you'd like to see me cover in future videos, either by commenting down below, by coming and finding me on social media channels shown along the bottom of the screen now, or indeed by joining the Catskull Cartel Discord. Catskull Cartel is, of course, my Eve Echoes corporation. I do take applications for that, though of course the Discord itself is open to all. If you are watching these videos and enjoy them, come join the Discord, details at the bottom of the screen now. We do love to chat and it is open to all. Anyway, so let's have a look at this particular ship. So we're going to go into the fitting menu for the Xian-yue Prototype. Now I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm pretty sure I've got the UA right, but the Xian I think I have right, or Xian. I'm not entirely certain. Either way, apparently that translates as half moon in, I think, Mandarin Chinese. Of course, people can correct me there. And this is the prototype of the new Yan Jung destroyer. You've seen me talk about this in some of the previous videos, that sort of shoehorn shape to it. See, the colours are slightly different because it's the prototype. The standard version of it does have a gold colour, which we will look at in a moment. But let's have a look at the ship's basic stats. So it's roll bonus. It gets plus 15% to small decomposer optimal range. Decomposers are the type of weapon that the Yan Jung provide. 80% extra small decomposer damage, and plus 1 warp stability. Now again, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, warp stability is how easy your ship is to lock down. By standard, you have warp stability of 0, thus anyone hits you with a warp scrambler of at least strength 1, they take you from 0 down to -1, you are now locked in place, you cannot activate your warp drives, which includes micro warp drives, you can't warp away from combat. If you are at plus 1 warp stability, they need to have a warp scrambler of at least strength 2, or 2 strength 1 warp scramblers on you. I'm sure you understand. I've done a video on this one, that's worth checking out if you're interested and not sure what's going on there. The Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade bonus, for every level in Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade, you get plus 5% Small Decomposer damage, plus 5% Small Decomposer optimal range, and plus 10% Stasis Webifier optimal range, which is great for slowing people down, which is kind of useful because we'll talk about the turrets on this thing later on. Now, that means with full 5 levels in Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade, I get an additional 25% damage on the Small Decomposers, and a 25% increase to the optimal range. Finally, if you are trained in Advanced Destroyer Command, you get a bonus of 5% shield per level and 10% warp speed per level. You probably will see later on as I warp in and out of an anomaly, I can actually reach a warp speed of 6.3 astral units, which is quite impressive because that's the additional 50% warp speed on there. The shield as well, obviously by having 5 levels in Advanced Destroyer Command, would take me up to an additional 25% shield. For its overall stats, it's got a decent enough defense there, flight velocity of 243 meters per second, and a warp speed of 4.5 AU standard, obviously before you get the upgrade there for Advanced Destroyer Command. That is pretty standard for a destroyer. I think that's actually on par with something like, I think it's slightly slower than a Thrasher, but it's on par with something like an Algos. Now, the warp speed, the power grid output and capacitors, again, are fairly standard. Cargo hold capacity, not bad at all at 800 meters cubed. Again, I think that's actually above average for a destroyer. Its shield resistances are nothing against electromagnetic, of course, a little bit of 20% resistance against thermal, 40% against kinetic, and 50% against explosive. So again, if you are taking out Xian-yue prototypes, you're going to be wanting to use electromagnetic or thermal-based weaponry mostly to get through those shields. And it says here, a mysterious faction has arrived in New Eden. They hold the belief that disasters and good fortune are often inextricably linked. They may even be more ancient than the Jovians. This mysterious ship brought their ancient dream here. Which shows that the Xian-yue was actually the first ship, really, that the Yan Jung used to pilot through the wormhole from our galaxy into New Eden back at the very beginning of all of this, which is pretty sweet knowledge. Now, in addition to the ship, we get the turrets, which are these here, the returned small jet stream decomposers. Now, I just want to read the description for decomposers because I love this description. A product of Yan Jung force field technology, blasts cesium atoms with electrons moving at a high speed, generating an unstable intermediate state, which is then launched towards the target, dealing kinetic and explosive damage. So they're cannons. They are projectile cannons, but sort of supercharged. Small, usually fitted to frigates and destroyers. Now, the stats on this thing are actually a little bit weird. Damage type, again, as you'd expect for something like a cannon, it is explosive and kinetic. Unlike cannons, though, they flipped that round, whereas cannons like the autocannons and the strike cannons, what used to be howitzers and artillery for Minmatar, tend to be high explosive with a little bit of kinetic. These are high kinetic with a little bit of explosive, which I actually quite like. It's a bit of a flip. Now, looking at the details here, meta level 5, these are the high-powered ones. Power grid requirements, activation costs, activation time, 7.5 seconds, so it fires once every 7.5 seconds. Optimal range is basically 13.5k. That's a decent bit of length, but there is a big caveat to that. Do you see anything on here like accuracy fall off, or anything like that that would extend it beyond that range? No. As far as we can tell, that is the maximum range. You need to be within that range. Now, when I've actually got my ship out in space, which I will show you in a moment, I can, because of the skills that I've got and the ship bonuses, mine has actually rocketed all the way up to 23.5 or somewhere around there. Optimal range, but they are fairly short range. You're not going to be kiting with these. You are a brute force hit and run ship if necessary. Now, tracking speed for a turret is not bad at all. For a small turret, that's a little bit on the slow side, so Weber fires are definitely useful for slowing your target down. It's not terribly slow. It's definitely faster than many of the long-range turrets, but it's a little bit slower than a lot of the short-range turrets. Single hit damage of 237, however, is utterly brutal, and you will see as I close all of this, the basic sitting DPS I have on this ship is 512. It's disgusting. Now, in addition to all of the turrets being sent in the mail, you will also get the returned macro particle stabilizer. Again, a product of Yan Jung force field technology, can boost the power of Yan Jung decomposer weapons. As you would expect with any of these kind of things, stacking them like I've done does reduce the effect of the future ones. It doesn't go below, having 3 isn't worse than having 1, but it isn't the same as having 3 times 1, if that makes sense. If one of them does 100, then having 3 does not do 300. It actually deteriorates the more you have. You don't get the full effect. Now, what these do is, straight up here, you can see these activate, they stay active for 20 seconds. After that 20 seconds, it has a 60-second cooldown before you can activate it again. It then gives you a speed increase to the turret's firing, plus additional damage. Damage bonus of 5%, standard flat rate, and when you activate it, it goes up to 8.03. So these are just useful things to have. They're kind of like gyro stabilizers or heat sinks, that kind of thing for other turrets. And you get 3 of those, so you may as well pack them in. There's nothing in the mid slot, but if you're going to put a mid slot in these, a stasis Weber fire by definite is going to be your best thing to put in there, simply because, again, if we look at the skills down here, you get additional 10% optimal range with the stasis Weber fire, which means if you are flying one of these bad boys with the full 5 levels of advanced small decomposer upgrade, you are going to have an additional 50% optimal range on stasis Weber fires, really allowing you to lock your opponents down. Now, there are 3 rigs that you get sent 6 rigs, sorry, and you get 3 of the Decomposer burst aerators and 3 of the Decomposer collision accelerators. Now, the burst aerators are straight up activation time adjustments. These allow you to, they just mean that your Decomposers fire that little bit faster. Beyond that as well, the collision accelerator is a flat damage bonus of 17.5%. Now, I've done a quick bit of numbers, and Alex the Master in the Catskill Cartel has run the numbers as well. The best way I can see to do that is 1 of the burst aerators and then 2 of the collision accelerators, because again, collision accelerators, any form of rig, if you have multiple of the same rig, it's not as good as having 2 of that rig. It's kind of like a 1.5 effect. Which is why you don't want 3, and the burst aerator just means they fire that little bit faster. But is it a shield tank or a armor tank? Well, if we go into defense, you can see here that I've got an effective HP of 9879, which is fairly high for a destroyer. If we look, that is 3,384 on the shield hit points, 1,238 on the armor hit points, and 3,413 on structure hit points. If you are putting armor repairers on this ship, you are doing it wrong. This is definitely a shield-based ship. Like, there is nothing about that. And the crazy thing is, this is cap stable. This ship setup is cap stable, which, I'm not sure what to make of that. I'm really not sure what to make of that. Now, of course, that may be the skills that I have. Now, speaking of skills, let's have a look at the ones you are going to be wanting. Obviously, under weapon technology, at the bottom here, you have Decomposer, Small Decomposer Command, Advanced Small Decomposer Command, always going to be useful, as are the Small Decomposer Upgrade and Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade. Now, in the case of the Xian-yue, it does have bonuses for Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade. Now, you only get the 5 levels in the bonus, so even though I've got 5 in Small Decomposer Upgrade and 5 in Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade, the ship bonus itself, actually, if I jump back into that, just to show you, the ship bonus that I'm talking about here, there, of Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade bonus, only applies to Advanced. So I'll get the bonuses of, I'll get the abilities from the skills at standard and advanced level, so all 10 levels of the skill, but that bonus only triggers based on advanced. So those are skills that you're going to want to train. You do get a big skill injector, so you can go straight into putting those in. The one I would get first of all is that Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade, and believe me, that 5th point in this is insanely long. Like, the training time, if I go in now and just check, you can have a look there. It's like 1,264,470 skill points. It's like 6 days worth of training for that 5th point otherwise. So get those skills in straight away. Obviously, other than that, under maintenance technology, because it is a shield ship, you're going to want to have shield operation at least leveled up somewhat. I've got basic shield operation at 5 because I'm running Minmatar ships anyway and using a lot of shield bases. You may want to go into advanced shield operation. I certainly do eventually. Remote shield operation, ignore that, that's for another one. Under defense upgrade, destroyer defense upgrade, of course, is a flat up boost for you. Just gives you extra shield, armor, and structure onto all your ships. Again, you may want to go into advanced, but get the basic one done first. Obviously, you have to get the basic one done first, but it's well worth doing. And under cruising technology, destroyer command and advanced destroyer command are useful too. Now, you can see I haven't got quite enough points to get Advanced Destroyer Command all the way up to level 5, and that is a long skill, 162 hours still remaining, and I'm nearly halfway through it. Oh, that's insane. You do the math of how long that is. But again, obviously, looking at the ship, and you're going to want to go for the Advanced Small Decomposer Upgrade and Advanced Destroyer Command bonus as kind of your optimal, just because you get the extra bonuses. I'd mainly go for the Decomposers, though. As you'll see, this ship can do some insane damage. Now, I'm going to undock, and with all of these activated, I'm just going to show you what this actually looks like with its stats. Without it being docked, so sort of its active stats in combat. So here we are in JLO Z3, which is a deep nullsec down in Scalding Pass, a little bit further away from some of the other stations and that I've been using, but okay, pretty little area. Let's pop all of these on now. Once we've got all of those on, we're going to go into fitting, and you'll see I'm pulling 825.74 DPS with that, with a defense of 9879 in a destroyer. In a small class destroyer. This thing is insane. This thing is an absolute beast. Anyway, just to showcase how much of a beast it is, looking at the cosmic anomalies here, we've got some level 7s, an Angel's small anomaly at level 7 there. I'm gonna wait for these to cool back down again, the boosts. Then I'm gonna jump out to that Angel small anomaly, and we're gonna see what we can do, see how well we can take on that. And oh, there come a load of bounties for me. Anyway, folks, let's pause, and we'll jump back in a second. So let's warp out to an Angel Small Anomaly at Tier 7 and see how this ship handles these particular anomalies. So I'm jumping in now straight away, and what I'm going to do is pick which one of these looks like it's going to cause the most damage, or be the most problematic. Set that approach again manually to about 22 kilometers. Start to come away, put all of my boosters on, all of the turrets start firing, and just watch the damage that this thing can kick out. That Cyclone, straight away, that first salvo is taking it right the way down, really doing some work there. Let's put the shield booster on as well to just make sure that I don't die too quickly. And you can see that the damage is just insane from this thing. This is a destroyer. Like, we were hoping that between the beta and this final test, they were going to have tuned things down a little bit. I'll be honest, when I came into the final test and saw that actually I was taking some rather hefty damage from some of the anomalies and stuff, the standard rats, I actually quite liked that. I had to warp out of some anomalies surprisingly early on, whilst still leveling up my ship before going for the Kestrel build. So as you can see here, this kind of is a return to form on the previous situation, that as long as you don't get locked down, and remember that the Xian-yue has a has warp stability baked into it, which obviously means it's harder to lock down, that ultimately you can just kind of get in and fire away with impunity. Tier 5 is absolutely no problem at all to this thing. Tier 5 anomalies, this thing just utterly, you just park and start shooting. And literally you come out of there like 16 million richer, because every cruiser that you take out is between 1.4 and 3 million ISK as the bounty. It's just insane. So yeah, I'm taking a bit of damage here, and I am using up a bit of capacity, obviously with some better skills and without having warped in at a better angle or pulling away a little bit faster to get to that proper 20-kilometer actual maximum would be a much better way of doing it. But there we are, 2.85 million from that one blasted ship. That's insane. That is utterly insane. And now I'm taking down a hurricane. Can we pause a second? Just appreciate that. That's a hurricane, okay? It's a hurricane prototype, sure, but it's still a hurricane. That's a battleship, and yeah, it's doing some hefty damage to me, but that's because I'm being careless. I'm staying at standard range for this length of time. I'm just blasting. I should warp out, I should repair, I should come back, burst down the hurricane, and then come out a little bit faster. At this rate, I might actually end up doing that. I am going to move to station, just to see if I need to. Yep, we are into Hull now, so I'm going to warp away from this hurricane and get out of here quickly, although I think that last salvo, yep, it's going to finish it off anyway, because of course it is. Because of course it is. I've just taken out like three cruisers and a battle cruiser fairly straightforwardly, fairly easily, without even really trying. So oh man, I don't know, this ship is just something else. This ship is something else, and honestly, I'm kind of hoping it does get tuned down just a little bit for launch. Obviously, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot to look at and a lot to think. I love the look of these ships, but that ability to just take out a hurricane like that, I mean, come on, I'm a destroyer, and I just nuked a hurricane, like, without even really trying. So I'm going to jump back out to that anomaly now. We're going to finish that one off. Angel small anomaly. There we are. Let's warp out, because I don't really want anyone stealing all of the loot that I've just put there. But yeah, I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again, that's insane. This thing is kicking out 800 DPS with just the, the basic skills for this ship. And that's, I don't know. There's a part of me that finds that hilarious. There's another part of me that thinks, that is a little bit concerning, that we do have the Yan Jung being added to the game by the developers purely, as they say, to like appease the Chinese audience, I suppose. Please tell me that hurricane lost something. Yep, we are. Battle cruiser wreck. There we are. Let's loot that. Okay. Medium water cannons and level 7 ship debris. Nice. Destroyer wreck. Anything useful there? There we go. And the battle cruiser wreck. Too far away, so let's auto approach. In the meantime, let's pop all of these on and blow up that Gistum rupture. Again, just here it goes. Here it goes. The salvos are just going to rip that poor little thing to shreds. This ship is insane. It's utterly insane. So yeah, there is a part of me that thinks, these are really cool. I quite like this ship. I like what it's capable of doing. But at the same time, this is just a destroyer, and it does feel like it has been massively, and I do mean massively, overtuned. Anyway, I'm not going to continue going through all of these, just because I think it's going to be a bit boring for me just to sit here and do that over and over again. So I am going to approach and dock back at the Serpentis station here in JLO Z3. I know it's JLO, but just JLO, it makes me chuckle. But yeah, obviously all of us in the final test have been given a Xian-yue. You should have had the Xian-yue, all the turrets and everything, all in a mail. Do check that. Give it a try. If nothing else, you can use this to utterly obliterate tier 5 anomalies and just make a lot of very safe and easy money that way. So worth doing. Grab the ship, let me know your thoughts, let the developers know your thoughts on the official Eve Echoes Discord. You know the drill by now. Otherwise, folks, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden!